Hey you guys, this is Michelle, and this is the second part of the motivation action video that I just did. This time I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about discipline. You see, discipline is the surest means to a greater freedom and independence, and it provides you the focus to achieve the skill level and the depth of knowledge and translate it into options into your life. Some people disregard discipline as a chore. For me, it's a kind of order, and it sets you free to fly. So those of us who value freedom, self-sufficiency, independence, and tend to enjoy a wide range of experiences to touch down lightly on many fields of endeavor, we often have issues with resistance to repetition, routine tasks. You see, discipline and freedom as opposites, it seems, if we perceive discipline as limiting. Our options are forcing ourselves to do something we don't really feel like doing, such as exercise or skipping desserts, the sort of thing that requires a little bit of commitment to accomplish. Freedom, on the other hand, implies a lack of boundaries or lack of restriction, keeps our options open. We can be free, remaining spontaneous. But this points out a paradox, you see. While freedom is our absolute transcendental right, it's our birthright, it must be earned in this world. Discipline remains the key to freedom and independence. This principle applies to both our inner freedom and our outer freedom. Although our outer life may appear to include many freedoms, the problem is that you're not free inside. You may feel enslaved to like a whirling, churning, runaway mind, full of desires and worries and negative thoughts and images. But the focus on discipline and focus of inner practices such as like meditation or exploring your beliefs or other insight type work can generate a sense of inner freedom and inner peace, breaking those chains of your mind. So I want to stop right here for a second. Okay, I want you to listen to what I just said. Meditation, insight work, working on yourself, going into exploring your beliefs, your ideas, your interests. It breaks the chain of your mind. Now, outer freedoms expands as a result of discipline, effort over time. These freedoms may include financial freedom associated with excellence in a field, greater mobility, the ability to travel, the freedom that comes with a strong, healthy body, social freedom, self-respect, and satisfaction that comes from disciplined labor. And in general, having more options in your life. So freedom involves more than the ability to experience many things, because what we gain in breadth, we lose in depth. But if you focus all of your energies and persistence through the boredom, you don't just go into the experience, you go through it. And in this process, you learn far more about yourself and what you're capable of than if you just treat your life like a simple platter. So discipline is a habit of doing something a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit deeper, staying with something, pushing through it. And discipline recognizes that boredom means that you're just getting started. So, oh boy, I got some stories to tell you. You know, I injured my back. Okay, so let me kind of back it up a little bit. So I used to absolutely be into working out a lot. And I remember when my son Taylor was in high school. He was 17 years old and he was super skinny, weighed like, I don't know, 150 pounds, and he was 6'4". And my nephew Preston was working out and he was getting all buff. And everybody was like, ooh, Preston, look at those muscles, you know? And Taylor came to me and he said, Mom, I'm tired of being skinny. I want to get some muscles on it, you know. And I said, I understand, sweetie. I said, let's do this. Let's do it. So I said, let's go get a gym membership. I'm going to get one of my friends to help train, and we're going to get this show on the road. And I said, what's your goals? And he's like, I want to put 20 pounds of solid muscle on in 6 months. And I was like, whoa, that's a heck of an accomplish here, you know? And so he goes and he talks to everybody, and everybody says you can't do that without steroids. But he was determined that he was going to prove to everybody he could put 20 pounds of muscles on in 6 months without using steroids. And he did. He did. In fact, if you saw that boy right now, you'd be like, holy shit. It's like 220 pounds solid muscle. I mean, he's massive. And he's, 23, 24 right now. So he's accomplished a whole lot more in his life than that. But that's a whole nother video. So, you know, anyways, in the process of all this, getting back to my story, I ended up injuring myself because I was working out just as hard as he was. But, you know, older, pushing it a little too hard. And, oh my God. So I ended up injuring myself. And this time I injured myself really, really bad. I put myself down on my back and it got so horrible. I mean, I tried so many different things, acupuncture, everything, you know, and it was massages, and I had to quit working out. I couldn't do it. The spasms in my back were horrible. I tried getting back into it several times. I tried, and it just wasn't working, and the pain was just too excruciating. One of my friends took me on a long walk. She said, "Would you start walking?" You know, because I started putting weight on, and she's like, "Would you start walking?" So she took me to Memorial Park, and I mean that 3-mile walk, and by the time I got in the car, I could barely I was just like, oh, you know, my back was just emaciating pain. And so I gave up, and on that particular thing, I mean, sort of gave up. Okay, so years later, you know, when I met Shane, you know, he had some back issues, and we decided that together we were going to work on this problem since we had a similar problem. And he was actually put on Social Security because of it, because of his, you know, his back. And I mean, and I was about this far from being in the same place, you know. I couldn't walk to Walmart. I couldn't do a whole Walmart run without my back just going into total spasms. I couldn't stand on my feet. It was just horrible. And so I was like, all right. So I got into this thing called magnet therapy, and we started doing that on a regular basis. And then we decided, okay, we're going to start doing yoga. And we started doing yoga because I was like, all right, you know, maybe stretching the muscles and getting them, you know. So we did that for about 6 months, very consistently. We're going to do this. And we did it 3 to 5 times a week. And then I was like, all right, I'm ready to get back in the gym. I'm feeling better. I think the yoga healed my back. Between that and the magnets, I'm ready. And so he was like, all right. So he decided he was going to do it with me, and we started going to the gym. Now, that was the hardest thing for me, because I got in there. Oh my God. It was like, just lifting at the very first one where you just take the pin out and you just let the machine was like horrible. My strength was just awful. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just take this slowly, you know. I'm going to just do this slow, but I'm going to stay disciplined. I'm going to stay consistent. I'm not going to try to beat myself. I'm going to do the very best that I can. And slowly that I was able to put the pin in. And then slowly I was able to build a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then suddenly I'm like, whoa, I've lost some weight. I'm feeling really good. My back is strong. I can walk through Walmart without any pain. In fact, I can walk all day without any pain. And he was in the same place. And he's like, Michelle, I think I can go back to work. And so we were like, all right, what do you want to do when you grow up? And so we sat down and we thought about it, and we were like, okay. And so he decided he wanted to be a private investigator. And we sat down, did our research, tried to figure out what the plan was to get together. So we mapped out this whole plan, and we just focused on one thing at a time, one thing at a time, one thing at a time. And by the way, 1.5 years later, he just got hired on as a private investigator, going to be making 6 figures, and he is, bam, doing good. And his body is in great shape. He said that he's in the best shape he's ever been in his entire life. And this is a man who had freaking pipes, fell on his back. They said he was going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. This is a person that was on disability. This is a person that put it in his head and said discipline, discipline, discipline. Same thing with me. It's like I couldn't even like go shopping, without that pain. And so like when you put discipline into something and you just work at it, you will see success come at you. See, the freedom that I needed was to be able to do normal activities and feel human, okay? The freedom he needed was to be able to have that financial success again, to be able to work again, okay? See, freedom involves more than the ability to experience things. What we gain in breadth, we lose in depth, like I said before. But focusing all of your energies and persistence through that boredom, you go into the experience, we go through it, into the process, and we learn more about ourselves and our capabilities instead of treating our life like a sample platter. I know I just repeated this, but this is important. Treating your life like a sample platter. See, discipline is a habit of doing something just a little bit more, just a little bit more, a little more. This is why I told you the story, because we did it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. I'm pushing through it. There were times when I first started working out. I don't remember if you guys remember a few years ago when I posted on Facebook, but I literally was laying on the floor crying. Like crying my eyes out, going, I can't do this, because it was so hard. But I did it anyway. I pushed through it. And I'm going to tell you, it wasn't fun, okay? It wasn't fun. I was like dragging my ass. There wasn't anything inside of me that got me motivated to say, come on, I was waiting for that motivation. And no. It was something that I desired, and I wanted to get there. And I just kept on going, and I kept on going. So, commitment involves discipline over time. Sprawling between us and our goals in life that we encounter is kind of like a swamp rather than a red carpet. And that swamp represents the necessary preparation, whether it's schooling or some sort of relevant thing in your life, the details and some drudgery thing that you have to go through, like I did. Boy, that was hard. Some kind of preparation for something. Whether it's a degree or sacrifices that you want to make. Maybe raising children, you have to make sacrifices when you raise children, but I'm going to tell you something. Best thing I ever did in my life. A lot of sacrifices, but the most challenging and the most rewarding thing is having children. But that's a whole nother thing. And so the secret to getting through that swamp-like thing that it feels like at times is having a goal that inspires you. A goal that fills you up with a sense of purpose. A goal that needs to be very specific. Like with Shane, we said, okay, he wants to be a private investigator, okay? Me, I wanted to have a normal life. I wanted to be like everybody else and not have to go lay down just because I'm having spasms, you know? And the secret to getting through that, like I said, is to find something that inspires you. That goal needs to be very specific, and it's, you know, the goal needs to be specific. For example, just saying make good money isn't enough. You need to visualize what you want to buy with that, the pleasure that it's going to bring you, the sense of purpose that's going to come from that. And when you find that goal, let it shine so brightly inside of you. It shines like a beacon and it draws you through that swamp-like thing, reminding you what's waiting on the other end. Discipline and commitment provides a bridge between the here and the goals. And when you feel discipline falter, you might just ask yourself, what do I want to look back on in a year from now? Am I going to be in the same place? What do I want to look back on? We may be able to postpone those disciplines in your life, but at the end, you can't avoid it. Sooner or later, if you want to get anywhere or do anything with any level of depth, you have to have self-discipline. So let's do a little exercise. I want you to imagine that you're on solid ground, but you're in a place that you really just don't want to be anymore. Like me, I was in this place I didn't want to be. You know, I got tired of being this like crippled-ish type person that continuously gained weight because I was sedentary and I didn't move, you know. And so you want to imagine that thing and feel the urge to move forward and expand it to a greater freedom of independence. In the distance, I want you to imagine that far away, there's like a beacon, okay? And it shines really big, and that is your freedom in your life. So imagine in between that, there's a swamp. We'll call it the in-between place. And it appears dark and uninviting. There's risk, and it's going to take some energy to pass through this murky water. There's even twisty vines. You might feel discouragement, confusion on the way. You might even get sidetracked. Temporarily losing sight of your goal, and you may even forget why you even started and feel tempted just to give up, to lower your sights or just forget it. But now consider that if you desire to reach the other side of that shore of expanded opportunities, if you desire it strong enough, if that beacon shines bright enough for you, it will lead you forward through that swamp between the here and the there. And that bright image will help you generate enough energy to do what you need to do over time to make your goal a reality. And that's the key to your journey. That's the key to discipline. All right, you guys, this is Michelle signing out.